1920s, thousands of immigrants moved to Texas. They brought with them customs and ways in life that were not like the Cubano way of life. These customs and beliefs caused conflicts with the Mexican government. Texans and Mexicans did not see eye to eye. Language barriers and freedom of religion were just some of the problems Texans faced. On April 6, 1830, a law was passed to stop settlers from settling in Texas. This angered many settlers who wanted to bring their families with them. This was the last straw. The Texans wanted their freedom back. The dictator Santa Anna had to be stopped. The revolution would soon begin.
Welcome, audience, to our 4th grade reenactment Battle of Gonzales.
It all begins on a crisp autumn day in the year 1835, October 2nd. Mexican Colonel Domingo Yucateche decides to seize the canyon with the voice of his men.
A man named Andrew Bolton took it upon himself to hide the cannon in the peach orchard.
Colonel Yucateche, Domingo Yucateche, and 4 men in the orchard searching for the cannon. It was hidden in the orchard.
Where is it? Where is that cannon? We can't find it.
Colonel Yucateche storms off, with his 4 men quickly following him. Scene changes to Guadalupe River with 12 Mexican soldiers and Lieutenant Castaneda on one side, and the other side has the cannon.
Colonel Yucateche is so frustrated and mad, he decides to send Lieutenant Castaneda with 100 men.
It's too deep to cross.
The Texan army is led by Colonel John Moore, and his volunteer soldiers decide to move the cannon from the peach orchard to proudly show it off to the enemy.
The Texan army gets out the cannon ready to fire and gets the flag, waves it proudly, and shouts, "Come and take it."
Come and take it. Surrender the cannon.
John Moore kneels down and lights the cannon.
One Mexican soldier dies.
This shout caused Mexican soldiers to retreat with 1 death. Texans lost no casualties. The first shot of the Texas Revolution was heard in Gonzales. Ladies and gentlemen, the Texas Revolution has begun.
The Battle of Goliad was the second skirmish of the Texas Revolution. In the early morning hours of October 9, 1835, Texas settlers attacked the Mexican Army soldiers at a fort near the town of Goliad. Using axes, Texans were able to chop through the door and into the fort before the Mexican soldiers were even aware of their presence. After a 30-minute battle, the Mexican unit surrendered. One Mexican soldier had been killed and 3 others wounded. The Texans had only 1 injury. Through the victory, the Texans acquired $10,000 worth of food, weapons, and other provisions from the Mexican army. The surviving Mexican soldiers were instructed to leave Texas immediately. The Goliad victory took much-needed supplies from the Mexican army and gave it to the Texans. The Texans also acquired several cannons, which helped greatly in the following battles. On October 11, 1835, Stephen S. Austin was chosen as commander of the Army of Texas. Austin wanted to take the capital of Texas, San Antonio. He took his 200 men and began his approach. Knowles toward the capital city and stopped before each move and trying to ensure that his volunteers would not be caught by surprise. They would drive the Mexican army out.
Despite Austin's orders to return to the main army, they stopped at a place near a large bend of the river west of Mission Concepcion. Dusk was upon them, and for this reason, Bowie decided to camp there in the woods by the bend of the river for the night. Hearing about this separation, General Gonzales decided to take the opportunity to attack the smaller force. The morning of October 28, 1835, the countryside was covered in fog. Even though they could not see very well, General Gonzales ordered his army to move in before the Texan army could be reinforced. He sent Colonel Yucateche and Lieutenant Colonel Mendoza along with 400 men and 2 cannons to the battle site. Mexican soldiers approached from the south and the east. The Texans crouched below the protection of the riverbank, which formed a natural trench.
Texan sharpshooters with long rifles focused their attention on the gunners and quickly silenced the Mexican army. The Mexicans began to fall back. Taking advantage of this retreat, Bowie led a charge toward the Mexican army and soon was able to turn one of their own cannons against them. The battle soon ended and only one Texan lost their life. Many Mexican soldiers perished in the battle. The Texans had been outnumbered roughly 3-1, yet the battle had been won by the smaller force.
On February 23, 1836, Santa Anna marched to San Antonio accompanied by 6,000 Mexican soldiers. He wanted the Texans to surrender the Alamo to the Mexican government. Meanwhile, at the Alamo, about 200 Texan troops and their families lived together and defended the fort. They were led by James Bowie, a frontiersman from Louisiana, William Barrett Travis, a young attorney from Alabama, and David Crockett, who came from Tennessee with 12 volunteers to assist the Texans in fighting for independence. All three gentlemen refused to give up control of the Alamo. William Travis became the leader of the Texans when James Bowie suddenly became ill with typhoid pneumonia. Travis vowed to never surrender the Alamo. He sent out a letter asking for help from all willing and able Texas men. The letter stated he would rather die than give up, using his now famous words, victory or death.
While defenders of the Alamo were under attack, members of the newly formed Texas government met at Washington on the Brazos on March 2, 1836, to officially declare the independence of Mexico. The members created a constitution that was approved and signed. After many days of cannon fire from the Mexican army, It seemed victory at the Alamo would be impossible for the Texans. Travis grouped his men inside in the plaza of the Alamo. Using his sword, he drew a line in the sand. He told the volunteers they could leave if they wanted to, but if they crossed the line and stayed, they would fight and die with honor. At dawn, March 6th, the Mexican army attacked the Alamo from all sides. The Mexican soldiers breached the wall, using weapons they had built, and ambushed the Texans.
During the 90-minute fight, nearly all the Texan soldiers were killed, including William Travers, who perished while fighting on the front line, alongside his men James Lee, who fought bravely in the wild Second and David Crockett, who fell to the Mexican soldiers with his favorite rifle. Even though outnumbered, the Alamo defenders managed to wound or kill over 600 Mexican soldiers. This was a victory in itself. After the victory at the Alamo, Santa Anna decided to let some women, children, and slaves go free. This small act of mercy allowed people to escape. He was sent to fight San Jacinto and Gonzales and delivered his.
After many Texas soldiers died in the Battle of the Alamo, General Santa Anna led his troops toward Texas coast, raiding and burning every settlement in the path.
Sam Houston had sent word that we should run for our lives. Everyone living in Gonzales had already packed up and left. He ordered all Texans to go towards the Colorado River to keep away from General Santa Anna's main army.
15 armies, so we have to leave now. Red free line!
As the days wore on, the weather became colder and wetter. Everyone was hungry. Some people died and were buried right on the road. We didn't know what was happening with the war or if we'd ever be able to go home again.
In Goliad, Colonel James W. Fannin led between 400 and 500 young men who enrolled about 10 different states to help Texas. The men worked hard to prepare their fort for the Mexican army. They knew the battle would be soon. The Texans readied their rifles, muskets, and cannons.
But these men were in a difficult situation even before they learned that the Mexican general Goliad Massacre was headed right towards them. Just like the volunteers in the Alamo, common Spanish men had very little fresh water or supplies. And never of them were ready to move. When General Goliad and his 450 soldiers arrived in Goliad, the battle started. Fannin tried to lead his men to safety. The Mexicans overtook them and Fannin was forced to surrender. In a meeting with General Goliad, Fannin agreed he and his men would give up their weapons and become prisoners of war. Unfortunately, General Goliad had other plans. His order was to execute all Texans who had surrendered. Following these orders, Mexican soldiers marched the Texan soldiers to the field and shot 342 of them. Word of the Goliad Massacre at Goliad reached Texans quickly. More than ever, Texans were determined to rid themselves of Santa Anna and the Mexican rulers. Now the Texans cried, "Remember Goliad," along with "Remember the Alamo."
1836, General San Jacinto Lytle was rescued the Texas Army from the area close to Concepcion, Houston, where the Buffalo Bayou meets the San Jacinto River. They camped near the edge of a grove of trees. Their defenses were protected from behind by trees, and the bayou in front of them was nothing but an open prairie.
The next day, General Alamo mobilized their forces and marches across the chief for the Texas Canyon of the General Sandy Sherman of the Texas Army led a small charge against the red troops, but nothing came of it, other than to give the Texas troops up for the Confederacy. On the morning of April 21st, San Jacinto sent a body east with a small group of men to destroy infantry. It is such things off the only way the Mexican army could have faced the possibility. When Sam Houston gave the order, the Texas soldiers did not hesitate, with shouts of "Remember the Alamo" and "Remember Goliad." The Texas Army defeated the Mexicans in a battle that lasted 18 minutes. As it became obvious that the Mexican army would be defeated, Santa Anna fled to the nearby woods. He thought he could hide his identity by dressing like a common soldier. When he was captured by Texas scouts, he was brought back to San Jacinto. His identity was given away, and his own soldiers shot him and shouted out for divinity.
With Santa Anna now in custody, Texas leaders took advantage of the opportunity. They told Santa Anna to make his soldiers retreat back to Mexico in order to spare his life. Texas President David Burnett and Mexican President Antonio Lopez y Santa Anna signed the treaties of Alaska, ending the war.
The Mexican government refused to accept the treaties of Alaska. They said they were illegal because Santa Anna was a prisoner when he signed them. Nevertheless, the Mexican army did retreat, and the Texans considered themselves free. They set up a government and became the Republic of Texas. The bravery of the soldiers who fought in the Texas Revolution cannot be questioned. They consider themselves more important than their own lives. They were willing to die for what they believed in. Their story will never be forgotten. Let us always remember the Alamo. Let us always remember Goliad. Let us always remember the importance of freedom. Thank you for coming.